In this episode, we're going to talk about the money that is possibly owed to you through black box royalties and other royalties from your music that we want to get hunted down for you and find it. Let's talk about this stuff and find you some money that's owed to you. I spent the last 14 years playing over 1,000 shows, touring 22 different countries, and become a top 40 Billboard charting artist. I fired my record label to go out on my own as an independent artist to market and release my own music, selling thousands of albums and millions of streams. The question I always get is, how did I do it without a label and sell even more music? This podcast is here to show you the way. Join me and follow along as I learn, apply, and share marketing strategies to grow my music business and a loyal fan base. So, I'm just going for a walk here, guys. It's like foggy this morning, but it's great. It's glorious. It's warm. Loving it. And I was thinking about publishing, and that's probably one of the biggest areas that has confused a lot of artists. And it's I got a direct DM. Someone DM'd me on Instagram about it, whether they should sign up for TuneCore's publishing administration. CD Baby has another version. I think it's their CD Baby Pro, where they collect your publishing for you on songs from streams and stuff that's owed to you. And I want to try and explain that in the most simple way. And there might be a ton of money sitting there that is owed to you, and I want to talk about some other areas where there might be some money that you could have collected on your behalf. And so, from what I've learned and understand of doing this the last years as an independent artist, okay, there's when you distribute your music online and you stream it, and it gets streamed on Spotify, or it gets downloaded on iTunes or streamed on Apple Music, there is royalties generated. There is the mechanical master side, which if you are the owner of that, if you are the artist, which I'm assuming you are, if you're the independent artist, you are the label owner, you would get that money, okay, into your account for the sales, basically, of it, okay? They call it mechanical. It's the sale. It's for the master side of it, okay? But there is also another royalty that is generated, which is the publishing side. And that's like for who you wrote the song with. Okay, so if you wrote it with another producer and you guys registered it with ASCAP or BMI or SOCAN if you're in Canada, CSAC, US, whatever, it would probably be 50-50. You own 50% of it and they own 50% of it. Well, when you sign up to have somebody administrate your publishing, and that's what it stands for, administrate or administration, your publishing, they go and find those monies and collect it, especially if it's been streamed in, Brazil, Germany, UK, anywhere that's like international, they collect that money on your behalf, or otherwise it's just sitting there in limbo, and they actually go and register the songs in the different territories in all the different countries, because it would just take you forever to do that, and then they collect the money, and then every quarter, all right, and so that how that works is, so I think it's I know it's November 15th, and then another 3 months after that, so December, January, February 15th, and then March, April, May 15th, and now June, July, August 15th, and then again September, October, November 15th, okay, so it's on the 15th every 3 months, okay, so every quarter. That's when those publishing royalties are paid out typically, okay? And so you want to make sure that you are that you have somebody admitting. So I suggest you, yes, sign up. If you're using TuneCore, sign up for their publishing administration. Or if you're using CD Baby, sign up for the Pro so they can collect that money. You might have a bunch of publishing sitting there. Now, if you have another song that you wrote on somebody else's song, you want to make sure you add that and let your digital or your admin know to go collect on that song for you as well too, especially for the publishing side of it, okay? And I know there's a few songs that I've written on. I don't know how big they were as far as features, but for instance, if I featured on a song that ended up getting a lot of radio play and a lot of streams, downloads, I got to make sure that there's someone to go collect that publishing on my behalf, okay? And so there might be a ton of black box royalties, a ton of royalties just sitting there for you, okay, just like sitting there, that you need to go and collect on. All right, there could be a ton of money. And when you sign up for like an admin deal with someone like that, it's not like exclusive. You're not signing your rights away. You're not giving anything away and, losing out or anything like that. And you can always change it later on if you want to sign with someone else. It's not like this exclusive, deal where they're stealing your rights or anything like that. Trust me, I used to be really nervous about that stuff too, but I really suggest you do it and collect the money, because that is definitely not your job. You do not want to be focusing on that. You want to be focusing on writing great songs, performing great songs, and building your business, okay? You don't want to start a publishing company and do that kind of a role. Honestly, your time is much better spent on creating and writing, recording hit songs, okay? And letting somebody who's a professional handle that, and who has the systems, to be honest, to handle that. Now, there's another place where you're probably missing out on a lot of royalties, and I think it was back in, I don't know, it was many years ago. I'd been signed for a little while to an independent deal. It was a licensing deal. I can't even really call it a full record deal, because it really wasn't, this like massive deal. Like people say like, oh, I got signed to a deal. And it's like, you hear it's like this little indie label or whatever. And yes, my deal did end up to some really serious success in Japan and stuff like that. And actually, I'll talk about that in a little bit. But before I get into that, when I was signed, there was all these royalties generated, again, on the publishing side of my Sound Exchange, okay? And Sound Exchange collects your internet and satellite royalties, okay? In the US, Canada, and international, if you submit for it, okay? So you go to soundexchange.com, and you need to register your songs there as well. And I remember after I had done this, because I hadn't done it in I just didn't have the account set up, and I think I had a bunch of records. I had 3 or 4 records out by that time, maybe 5 records, I don't know. But anyways, I hadn't finished signing or doing the paperwork for whatever reason, because I was lazy or I didn't understand it, or I just didn't know what was going on. And so I did it, and then I think it was a few months later, I got a check for like $13,000 or something like that. And I was like, what? And then I continued to get money every single month, and I still do to this day, okay? And so you want to make sure that you've got your songs registered there, and when you release a new song or a new album, it should just be part of your checklist, okay? I registered it with my pro, with my, my ASCAP, BMI, or CSAC in the US, one of those, or if I'm in Canada, so I register it with SOCAN, but then I got to make sure I register it with Sound Exchange. Of course, if I want to get paid on it, all right? And so that's 2 places where you might be missing money. Now, I want to go back to this little story about Japan, okay? Because I will say, when signed to a label, the main reason you're doing this is to leverage relationships. Their money you want to leverage, okay? If they're paying for your album or whatever. And honestly, in my situation, I didn't get an advance, so I was just signed to this label for their relationships, okay? And on my second record with them, that's when it paid off, because that independent label had distribution at the time with EMI, which is now owned by Universal, of course. But at the time, they had distribution through EMI, and so my record got picked up by EMI Japan. And it just freaking blew up and did huge. And this is when all of a sudden I'm getting an email from my A&R at the independent label asking me if I wanted to sign a full deal and sign away my publishing, okay? And I didn't realize that my publishing was, my writer's share was worth so much money, because I ended up doing an admin deal with Sony Japan, and they collected all the royalties from all the streams and all the downloads, all the sales that were happening in Japan, because I couldn't collect those, and the label was trying to sign my publishing away to them because they wanted to collect it and steal all my money, okay? And thank God I had a good head on my shoulders, and I just knew it wasn't right what they were trying to do, and I ended up signing the publishing deal with Sony, and they went and collected my money on my behalf, and it was a really great deal. Got paid a lot of money. They connected a lot of other stuff. Sorry, there's a truck going by there. But so I hope that clarifies it, and that's why your publishing is worth money, because all of a sudden when there's thousands of downloads and sales and all this stuff, yes, there's royalties generated on the master side, as you as the owner, but at the time the label owned the master, so I didn't get much of that. I got a percentage of that, but I did own 100% of my publishing, so I would get all of that. Okay, so the label, they didn't sign me to a publishing deal. That wasn't part of my record deal. And so again, I thank my lawyer for that. And that's why, if you do sign a deal, you need to understand all the income streams that you're giving away. But for those of you listening, you might have some money just sitting there right now if you've had radio play or had a lot of streams or whatnot, and there might be another side of the income that you just haven't collected on. So let's just go back one more time. So if you've had an album out, you've had an EP, if you've had thousands of downloads or streams or whatnot, and sure, TuneCore's paid you, or CD Baby or DistroKid's paid you on the master side, but you never set up for their publishing administration to collect the other side, there might be some other monies there sitting in black box royalties waiting for you. And I think it's after 10 years, if you don't collect on it, it just gets given to another artist. Some of the highest earnings, they just distribute it to the other artists. So you want to make sure you do that. So I hope that helps. Please leave a review, leave a comment if this has helped you out, or if you got more questions, feel free to post it. And if you haven't joined us at Fanbase University yet, come on and hang out. Go to fanbaseuniversity.com and join us on our monthly coaching calls where you can ask me questions one-on-one, and we can get you set up and pointed in the right direction and just get some clarity, because that's what I really feel what the majority of us struggle with, is getting clarity on, like, what should I focus on today? What should I work on today? All right, rock and roll. So if you're a struggling artist and you're just trying to figure out this music industry, you want to go full time with your music, you want to get noticed on social media, or learn how to launch an album, an EP, or just get your music more marketed out there, I want to encourage you to check out my coaching program called Fanbase University. Every single month, I jump on the phone 2 times with my students and I coach them and I teach them how to market their music, how to get noticed, how to handle booking agents, record labels, and just get their music out there. Also, you get access to exclusive training, you get interviews with music industry professionals. If you want to find out more and not do this on your own, not struggle, because I've wasted thousands of dollars on my career, and now I want to coach other artists. Check out my program, fanbaseuniversity.com, or click the link below to find out more info.